Testing. Welcome to Yin. Mr. Fox, have you found me online? Yeah, you have to reload. Welcome. And can you hear everything? It's on mic. Okay, welcome. We're going to do a little pop-up Yin class. And whether you're able to join today or not, no worries. Or right now or not, no worries. We're still in the morning time. And I thought I would just lead a kind of 30-minute Yin class for today. Just to make sure that, first of all our live recordings were great and active. Yeah, you need to make an appearance, don't you, Bella? And just to give an option for those times when we don't have as much time anyhow. So if you're joining live, excellent. If you find me a little later, no problem. We're going to use one block. And if you do not have a block, as per usual, I love people to have a rolled up towel that kind of gives you the height that a block would do. And you can roll it up any which way. That gives you a bit of height. And sometimes you might need to take two towels and roll them up and kind of layer them if you wanted to go higher block style. And we're just going to get started. Yoga. Sunday morning yoga, unless you're finding it on Monday or Tuesday. Going to get started in the official pose, the OG of all poses, the Shavasana. And this is where you, in a way, I guess, make a few decisions for your practice. They're not kind of decisions in the regular decision making way, but there is a little bit of settling in and inviting in and letting go of. So settling into the weight of your body to the mat. Inviting in what you might need, whether it's an ideology even, a perception, a way, an approach. Maybe you're working with an intention. Maybe you're practicing for something or someone. And then the letting go. Anything that doesn't serve what you're inviting in is what you want to let go of. So for me, just finding time to get to the mat means that I'd have to let go of needing to be anywhere else or wanting to be anywhere else, and just making space for that. And if by chance you're You rolled into this with me and you're live with me. You might just be settling in, right? You might just have gotten those props that you need and figured that out because I popped out of nowhere. So you just might be finding your way, and that's okay too. Take one big inhale through the nose and one big exhale. Exhale either out the nose or out the mouth. Step the soles of the feet onto the mat. Look the knees straight up to the sky. Bring the arms overhead for a little bit of flow. As the arms lay down, pick up the pelvic floor and the bum. Breathe in. Feel that squeeze at the top, and then put the bum down and the arms bring forward and put the arms down. Breathe out. One more of those, a little flow. Inhale, lift. Arms overhead, maybe reach through the fingertips. Woo. And then exhale, put the bum down, working the arms down. See if they might meet the ground at the same time. Exhale all the breath out. Keep the bend in the legs. Grab your prop, whether it's a block or a towel, and slip this guy right underneath your sacrum, lifting your bum up to place this prop right where it needs to be. Sacrum, not the bum cheeks. So it's just above the bum cheeks as you propel the pelvis forward and up a bit. And you just feel the setting of this. What is that? And it might be settling into this is settling down with a whole bunch of other stuff. Whether it's an emotional load that you've been carrying into today, after this week, after the last couple of days. If you're finding this right now or in and around this day, we're living through a lot. So we're dealing and managing a lot. And so you don't want to come to your practice on the mat without acknowledging what you need to move through. If it feels okay, you may lengthen your legs, rest your heels on the mat, stay wide through the feet, and feel the grounding of the sacrum kind of push the pelvic floor up, creating sensation and stretch there, in through the lower back, no doubt, but also into the hip creases, and allowing that open space to echo more breath in through your center and out the nose, exhale. And whether you're finding your way in through one breath at a time, or whether you're feeling for how your body receives this shape rather than does this shape, just allowing yourself to be finding your way into the ease of this shape. And letting go of being somewhere else, letting go of the fact that there's something next. There's always something next. But if we get all tied up in what's next, we certainly miss the now. Because this is a shorter yin offering, I want you to really mindfully travel through your breaths. Count an inhale in for 1. Count an exhale out for 2. Work your way up to 3. All the way up and down till 4. And continue the count to 10. Just a kind of mindful expression of being with your breath. When you've completed that 10th breath, slowly bend the legs, put the soles of the feet onto the mat. And this offering is more than just putting the soles of the feet to the mat. Could you feel the grounding of the mat underneath your feet? And maybe the spread of the toes wide as you put the toes back down to claim the mat. Because there's real life in how these feet meet the mat. Hmm. And then bring your hands towards your side body here, just kind of framing your pelvic floor, and push through your feet, ground down, sneak the bum up, and then take one of your hands and sneak the prop out. Put the bum down, slow and steady, stay put, deep breath in and out. And on your next exhale breath, whenever that is for you, you're going to widen the knees into Supta Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose, cobbler's pose. Soles of the feet come together like prayer hands would, and knees fall into this open space. And through at least, I'd say 2 breaths, maybe even 3 or 4, you feel for your fit here. So your fit might get a little bit of adjustment as slide the feet together down longer, right, towards the end of the mat, or you slide the feet up a little closer to your bum. Pick a fit that works. The fit that works is the one that allows you to breathe in and out through the nose with fluidity and grace while remaining quiet in the pose. And so the quiet expression of the pose comes from a still body. You can keep your knees wide here and your palms facing up. Or if it's okay and you want a real full body opening, you might bring the arms overhead with a pretty significant and deep bend in the elbows so that your arms aren't working and that you can kind of ground more to have the ground hold you up. And as you get into your fit, you start to meet yourself in this shape. My belief of this practice is it's a deeper meeting of ourselves. So we try on these funny shapes from one shape to the next. And we see what this fit means for how we think, how we breathe, how we feel. And we use those little bits of insights as a deeper awakening into ourselves. How is that similar to how we behave off of the mat? Where have I seen that reaction before? How do I recognize that habit, that way of being? It's in those little moments that we actually evolve into greater moments, greater recognitions of ourselves. So, what does it mean to have the knees wide, the heart open? What does it mean for you emotionally, perceptively? Remember, if it doesn't serve you, let it go. Pleasure of drifting into yourself, you may just drift off. And before you know it, your knees are falling heavier and heavier into this space. Your heart might be a little wider open too. And that's a consequence of less is more. It's not because we muscle ourselves in, but because we trust the space we're in and we let go into it. Take 5 more breaths here. Real, full, complete inhales and exhales. Might be at that 5th exhale that you spread the mouth wide, you stick out the tongue, you have a bit of space about you there. And before you go anywhere out of this shape, you're sliding your arms down slow. You're putting the hands to the outsides of the thighs and knees. They're doing their part to help the knees close like a book, right? And when you get the soles of the feet onto the mat, you acknowledge that by being still for a deep breath in and out. Bring the right knee into the chest, interlock the fingers at the right shin, and pull down towards your chest on an exhale for a little beat there. Then put the right sole of the foot on the mat. Switch out the interlocked grip. Bring the left knee up, hands to the left shin, and pull down on an exhale. And then put the left sole of the foot onto the mat. And then lengthen both legs and feel for how that shape of Shavasana has evolved even a little bit here. Big breath in and out. Take your time kind of rolling up to a sit. Ooh. No rush, no fuss. Turn over onto your hands and knees. Hi, Bella. Give yourself a little tabletop here. Curl your toes under. Feel your toes press down. And then arch your spine just once through an inhale. So make for your cow pose. Look forward, not necessarily up. And then exhale, push through hands and knees and round your spine. And then inhale, come through a flat back. And then release your toes so you can put your shoelaces to the mat. Toes touch, but knees a little wider. Step your knees wide as you feel possible in your body, and then shape into Balasana Child's Pose. Let your forehead come to the mat. Let your arms be amply bent, right? So that you can relax through the elbows onto the mat, through the arms onto the mat. And really travel your breath in and out through the back body, up and down the length of the spine. Heavy foreheads onto the mat unless you want to put your cheek to the mat. If you do a cheek, just even it out to side to side. And just notice here what really is apparent to me at the onset of this practice is any resistance that I have to my sit bones being heavy to heels. And so it might be that you even squeeze a little bit of your bum cheeks so that you can release the energy into a more soft space here. It might be that you fist the hands so you can be soft deliberately as you rest the hands open. And in this deeper meeting of ourself, we become okay about being awake to what's in the mind, what is in the headspace. And there's a meditation practice where you kind of imagine that your mind is the sky. And the clouds are every bit of thoughts or feelings, ideas, judgments that kind of pass by that clear space. We all have glimpses and the ability to have clear space, to watch the clouds and the stories just kind of go by, but to not necessarily pursue them in an effort, I guess you could say, to meet your clear space. So it's not that it happens to us, but that we choose to pursue this space, the clear space. I'm going to take about 5 more breaths. Again, that awareness to what our clouds are, how they pass on by, and the fact that they can really just pass on by. Take another deep breath in and maybe an audible exhale out. And with that exhale, there's a kind of heavy heart that might melt a little deeper into the ground. Out of that exhale complete, tabletop yourself. Walk your knees a little closer in hip width. Curl your toes under and bring your bum back and settle your bum, sit bones onto the heels as you walk your hands towards your knees and then onto your thighs for a toe squat. Now, when a pose gets a lot more challenging, it might be that you really get into the sense of the breath to meet the shape, or it might be that you get a little more fixated on those clouds. Neither is right or wrong, but what I invite you to do is count your inhale for 1, your exhale for 2, your next inhale for 3, and work your way up to 10 so that there's a real deliberate version of you here to meet your breath, in spite of the cloud or the challenge of the pose. All things pass, right? I think every mom at some point has that saying, mine does. This too shall pass. And there's always something to get out of the now. Even when you're looking forward to this too shall pass. Don't miss it. Deep breaths in and out. And when you get to that 10th breath, take your time, make your way into tabletop. You're going to want to release those toes, right? And then a little light kick into the shoelaces to release the energy that's kind of built up in there. And then I invite you to keep the shoelaces onto the mat. Nice rinse of the feet we just got. Press the shoelaces down, hover the knees about a half an inch or so. And then use that hover to transition into downward face dog. So you're rolling over the toes. There may be a little crunch, crunch. Ooh. But it should feel pretty decent after that opening in the feet. And then take a couple of breaths in down dog. And look forward to the outsides of the hands. Step 1 foot at a time to the outsides of the hands. And you're kind of going to bring your heels in and your toes out. And then slowly through a long exhale breath, bend the legs, sit your bum down into Malasana squat. And as you find that, you might take your prop and slide it underneath your bum if you need it. Or you might be just fine here. And let the weight of the sit bones win this one out. You might even just kind of round your spine as opposed to how you'd show up to this in a vinyasa practice, which is pretty actively lengthening the spine hard up. And you might also gesture the palms together with a little less press to the palms, finding the ease component of your Malasana squat. Maybe shutting the eyes, maybe softening the jaw. There's a part that can show up between the upper and lower jaw. And using the quiet of your body and the quiet of your space to follow your breath. Same 10 breaths. Journey of this squat might mean a slight kind of shifting of weight forward or back. Might. It might be information in the way of the stretch and the sensation of it. Again, less is more, right? A little less action packed, a little more receive. And if you have a prop underneath your sit bones in any way and you want to play with lowering the prop to get deeper into the shape, Do that for the next 5 breaths. But don't do it just to move around. Do it because there's a real calling to get deeper in. Transitioning at least 5 breaths into from where I just spoke to you about block or no block, or making sure that you're not rushing out. You'll template your fingertips behind. You'll sit your bum down, either off your prop or not. And now the front of the mat, in terms of where your head lays, is now the back of your mat. And you'll just feel kind of the feedback of where we just were. And take 3 more breaths here. And so the invitation is to get right into Shavasana because you can hardly wait. Or to take your right leg, right knee in. Keep your left leg long, interlock your hands at the right shin, and on your exhale, pull a little. And if that feels like it might lend itself to a half happy baby, you're kicking the right sole of the foot up. You grab the outside of the right foot and you just let it all hang. A little bit of a mess. Right thigh more open to the right side of the body. You can hold this, not your breath, for 5 breaths, or you can do that full 10 with softness in the expression of the face and stillness in the body. And as you switch to the other side, you're bringing that leg into center, right sole of the foot onto the ground, and then right leg long. You first bring the left knee in for wind relieving. You pull in on your exhale. If you did a half happy baby, you investigate on the other side for either 5 breaths like you did on the other side or 10 breaths like you did on the other side. But you're not muscling. So notice that you can hold on to your foot without pulling or kicking. It's just holding into place the shape that you want to breathe in. And coming out of it slow, whether it's 5 or 10 breaths, you decide. Bringing the leg to center, sole of the foot down, and then everybody meeting in Shavasana when you're ready for it. Breathing space at the armpits, please. Palms facing up rather than down. Can you gesture a very wide opening in your body? And in this Shavasana, as always, even though you've got this 30-minute yin practice that you've done, and it might be short and sweet and quick and dirty, Could you still add on time to asana? If you were looking for that 30 minutes, we're there just about now. But if you have space for more deliciousness to really investigate and grow your yoga, then this is where you do it in the OG, the original gangster of all poses. So thanks for joining and being up for a pop up class if that is you. And whether you catch me later on and make it work for you later on, glad to be with you. We'll probably be resuming live classes over the next week, but I'll also be continuing pre recorded classes. So there'll be more than enough yoga to get your yoga on with. Um, in the meantime, stay awake, stay active, stay engaged. There's a whole lot happening right now to challenge us and to beat us down, but the very same things are also calling us into action. The very same things, whether it's an icon passing away that we've so relied on and are so grateful to in terms of the civil rights movement, Mr. John Lewis, whether it's your virus that is attacking our neighborhoods. We're also learning so much about communities and neighbors and each other. So we're in a pocket of expression that is truly a place of opportunity. So let's just do it. Active, engaged, stay awake. Lots of love to you. Sweet dreams. Namaste.